Hello and thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Wednesday, January 1st edition of our video devotionals. And yes, Happy New Year to everybody. It is the first day of the brand new year, 2025. Hard to imagine, but here we are. I guess everybody has said that probably every year, especially if you're older. I'm sure kids don't do that. It's a sign of being old when the first thing out of your mouth is either about, boy, is it time flying, or how about the weather? You know how that goes. But anyway, it is a brand new year. And I hope your new year thus far is going well. Hey, if you're alive, and I mean, there's so many blessings that we have, then just look around you, and you're already blessed in the new year. But we want to make it a new year. I think our choices and our attitude does determine that. So we're going to try to help everybody with that with these devotions, okay? So we're going to be in Genesis chapter 2 today, verses 11 and 12. Maybe a little bit unusual devotion, and I like things that's kind of jumps out at me. And this is, I don't think I've ever preached a sermon or done a Bible study on this particular little subject. We're going to look at it today. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. I'm glad the new year falls on a church day, or church night as we would call it, because tonight, of course, is Wednesday evening Bible study, or whatever the format is at your church. And so the first day of the year, hey, you get to be in the house of God. Take advantage of that, if you will, okay? And we plan on doing that ourselves. All right, so I want you to notice here in Genesis chapter 2, of course, it begins with, in the beginning, God created. And then it mentions the days of creation, the 6 days. Of course, there's the Garden of Eden, and there's Adam and Eve that's going to be created. And I want you to notice something here a little bit unusual, though, about this Garden of Eden and what it says about it. It says in verse 10, it says, "And a river went out of Eden to water the garden. And from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads." All right. The name of the first is Pison. That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah. Notice this, where there is gold. Isn't that interesting? Where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. So in the first or the second chapter of the entire Bible, of all things that's mentioned, it mentions this element that we know as gold, all right? Also mentions bdellium and the onyx stone. So I want to talk about gold here a little bit in this very short amount of time I want to take here. But isn't it interesting that right there in the beginning, when man was created, God is talking about gold. Of course, God created everything, and gold is one of those things. It is an element, which means when you look around in this world, it's broken down to elements. You can't break an element down any more than into an element, okay? Gold is one of those elements, and of those elements, and I don't want to sound like I'm being some kind of science nerd here, but you know, if you look at a periodic table, the very first and the lightest atom, if you please, atom, is that of gas. That makes sense, of course, and that's hydrogen. Then you can go over to oxygen, that's number 8. But you go down through the list there, and you get to gold, and the symbol is Au, which I know you don't need that, but it's a gold, and it's very dense. All those numbers means the weight of the atom. So when you think about a gas, it's going to be lighter than a metal. That makes sense, right? So that being said, gold, isn't it interesting that in the Bible, in chapter 2, just like that, gold is mentioned. And then it mentions this particular place, the whole land of Havilah, and it says, "And the gold of that land is good." I don't know if that means it's pure or what all that means, or it just simply means because it's gold, that's good. But here's the thing. God, of course, created gold. It's mentioned in the very second chapter of the entire Bible, along with creation and all of that. You say, what's significant about that? Well, guess what? We talk about gold today. It's a very significant manner of speaking about gold. People like to know how much is gold per ounce. It seems like every country in the world, anybody of any wealth, the absolute standard for wealth is gold. You hear about it. There's commercials all the time about it. Hey, when the economy gets bad, invest in gold. It's been the most stable throughout the entire world for all ages, and that is true. But isn't it interesting that man's focus on gold and all that? Matter of fact, I've got a gold class ring here. All right, see that? There you go. Gold class ring. Now that's, I don't know what if it's 10, 14 karat gold, whatever it is. And of course, that's based on what they mix with it. But the point is, to this day, gold, and really has always been a standard of wealth. Our country used to have a gold standard, which it seemed like, I guess, the wealth or maybe the value of our country was equal to the amount of gold that they had in Fort Knox, Kentucky. Now, old timers kind of remember that, and I'm guessing that I don't know if that's even a valid place or not. I guess that'd be something good to look up, but I know this, gold. So what I'm saying is, Man makes a big deal about gold, but guess what? God created it. Wouldn't it be great? Here's the practical side. Wouldn't it be great if every time we saw a piece of gold, every time we saw a gold ring, every time we looked at someone's wedding band that was made out of gold, every time we heard a commercial about gold, every time you heard about it, you saw it, all of that. And matter of fact, in the book of Revelation, I was just reading yesterday that the Bible says that the streets in heaven are made of pure gold. All right. So that being said, the great thing about gold is it would be wonderful if people would think about God when they thought about gold. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't it be great if every time a rich person or anybody that had a piece of gold, a brick of it, I don't know if that's the correct term, but you can buy this thing in big chunks, super heavy, super valuable. I guess you have to be a pretty wealthy person to own those gold bars, I guess is what I'm saying. But all that being said, God mentions it in Genesis chapter 2. And wouldn't it be great if every time we even thought about gold, aspired for gold, purchased gold, thought about it, heard it said, that we say, you know what? God made that. And it's interesting that God was even talking about gold in Genesis chapter 2, knew that man would either gravitate toward it, or because God put an emphasis upon it perhaps, that we would say, you know what, that's God, and it is. So on this first day of the year, if you've got some gold, you think about it, wish you had some gold. You hear a sermon on the golden streets, think about God, and think about in all this world how man makes a big deal about wealth, and in particular about gold, that we should. Wouldn't it be great if we automatically went and said, you know what, God made that. He even said there was a place in Havilah where the gold is good. So I don't know about you. Let's think about God in our thoughts. And you know what? When you think about gold, there's a way to do it. All right, we're going to stop right there. We went a little bit longer than I normally do, but it is the first day of the year, kind of getting our feet wet, getting kind of grounded on the good things of God. And I appreciate you watching. Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. And thank you for watching.